Hey, all you pilgrims on the Ascension journey. Hey, quickly, I just wanted to show you guys some clips from the workshops, okay? So let's kind of just roll right into it, okay? The magnetometers around the globe to put all this data together. So, okay, we've talked about that. Look at, now this one, you can see how it comes down in like a, obviously pulsed in a straight line, right? So basically we're having our benevolent star family out there. I mean, there's other pictures like you can go, I mean, I know a lot of the data is taken out when the satellites do take pictures of all the ships that are out there and everything. I mean, there's the one the size of a planet and everything that's doing all this, because otherwise all of that energy, that scalar wave, and all of the cosmic rays that are coming from the center of the galaxy through all the different stars and into the Alcyon, into that toroidal field, electromagnetic field, the morphogenetic field of Alcyon that we're in, that we call the photon belt, higher energized particles, which we're going through now, right? We talked about it. Anyhow, there'd be a lot, and that transmutational process would totally, we couldn't hold that much energy. So it's a process. That's why they call it the Ascension process, right? Morphogenesis. So anyhow, you can tell with using your discernment and your logic that that is not like a normal one. Like the normal looking ones from just the sun, see how they're cut off? They're like straight edged. That's just a normal day without any photon energy. Did I show you one? I don't know. Anyways, they're kind of more round, right? They're more like when you have a coronal mass ejection from the sun, like that whole thing wouldn't be cut off, right, on the sides. It'd just actually be all fuzzed out and kind of roundish, right? Anyhow, there's that happened to be a 24-hour period. Massive wave, man. Talk about ascension symptoms. Okay, so some of the other ones, and then if you can see, I'll try to get a shot of this, that all the tiny thin lines in the background on this one, and this one, there's been some years where they usually do just one where like there's a whole 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks of just these thin lines where just a massive wave comes through, right? A massive pulsed wave that comes through. So they do, and that happened like I think twice this year in the spring, and then the year before it happened once in that spring. So this is all preparing us to get into that fourth density, right? So that our DNA can come back online, our fourth and fifth strand, or fourth strand, and then we can hold all of that energy inside our biological body, inside our biofield physiology, our light body too, our overall avatar. Okay. Two, Mayatakis. I've been finding Mayatakis lately. You can see the Mayataki here. Shiitakes, Mayatakis. I have been using the Mayatakis lately. I've been finding in just even the cheaper grocery store, well, it's a bigger one though, but anyhow, the hydroponic mushrooms that they grow, a whole package of them for less than $3. And the pharmaceutical companies, they use Mayatakis to fight AIDS. So it's one of the things that they use. Besides, the what are they called? The bio-oxidative therapies, right? Oxygen. But which actually they try not to use until you're really far gone. Anyways, we won't go down that rabbit hole. So the Mayatakis I've been using quite a bit. I chop those up too during the winter when they come out in the store. And, when I make my like lentil rice, lentil quinoa, or, whatever I'm doing, I chop them up. Or salads. Because the Mayatakis aren't, they're fairly good tasting. They're pretty close to the shiitakes. Okay? So, let's read. Maitake, a widely used mushroom in Japan, possesses immune-boosting compounds called beta-glucans, which, through present in certain other foods, possesses a structure in Maitake mushrooms that is particularly effective. Receptors for these polysaccharide molecules, known as diffraction, are found on a category of white blood cells known as macrophages. When you eat Maitake mushrooms, these cells, which have the job of engulfing foreign particles such as pathogens and tumor cells, are activated. Macrophages in turn activate other components of the immune system such as natural killer cells and cytotoxic T cells. I can't say enough about this one. I sometimes even find them at the regular grocery stores. So, yeah. Although the refined sugar cases can be profitable, and even though it might not have started out that way, but corruption in service to self has its addictive desires, qualities, and behaviors, which become agreements of entrapment through our own belief systems. So not just, those families that we talk about, like the Rothschilds or whatever, you can always point fingers, but you know what? What did they go through their whole entire generation after generation after generation? They're taught all these crazy things that are acceptable. Well, the world is like this, and so we'll just hoard money, and it's a service to self addiction, whatever you want to call it, okay? That's what I call it. So you can't really point fingers because we all have that inside of us. Not until I actually sat on a mountain meditating and water fasted in 1989 did I really begin purging and clearing some of the social conditioning beliefs that had been handed down. Now, don't get me wrong here. I still love a good raw dark chocolate bar or some local honey. I just wanted to know where it came from. But through that one spiritual practice, the meditation and the water fasting, I could see more clearly. This is one instance of a lifelong unraveling of truth just by going within oneself. That becomes the beginning point or even the 0 point of clearing and purging our own social conditioning. So whatever you're going through, that's why we always talk about one of the tools being meditation, especially out in nature and getting that circadian rhythm, because Gaia is in tune with the cosmic, right? The cosmic consciousness, Gaia's consciousness, all of those fields, the electromagnetic fields, and the currents that run through that. And so you get that natural circadian rhythm. You get into the cosmic clock, the Gaia's circadian clock, your own internal circadian clock. You see how that works? Sometimes when I have an extra, when there's huge, massive photonic waves coming in, those the ionized particles when they come in. And that's why it's important to, my suggestion that I think is important is that's why I'm meditating. That's why I'm always meditating outside in nature with my shoes off so I can run that through. And we've talked about that meditation, how we can run those particles and the energy through your field down into Gaia's crystalline core, and then and Gaia releases that out to everybody else. So it's a symbiotic exchange for everyone, right? And it helps not only the planet, but it helps everything, okay? when you're raising your own frequency. So that's why we talk about self-empowerment and nurturing and utilizing all these tools to self-empower and to start loving yourself and to become more of that unity consciousness, right? That crystalline consciousness, that Christ consciousness, right? Your awareness of the cosmic, right? That's why people go and do the plant medicine, right? It's because they open up their glands, their perceptions and stuff, right? There we go. To open up to the cosmic consciousness, right? To more of a larger picture. All right, moving on. Okay, so yeah. Because mostly at night while in delta brainwave pattern, sleep, yeah, there's an exchange there sometimes when I have an overabundant temporary overload. This creates a temporary overload on the myofascial tissue and the myelin sheathing of the body's endocrine and nervous systems, while the cell's atomic structures change their electron positions to find other positions on the valence bands, giving off photons in the process. So yeah, there's a lot of these. Think about gamma rays and the all the research papers and the data that they've done on even like nuclear, gamma rays and stuff, and so it stresses our endocrine. It stresses our endocrine and nervous system. Okay, so and that's what's happening on a subatomic level.